The Double Doink podcast is officially sponsored by Manscaped. Fresh Ball Fall is upon us, and you need to be in the festive spirit. Light a candle, get some pumpkin spice, and make sure your balls look nice with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. Nature may clear the leaves off the trees, but you'll need Manscaped's help to get you ready for the sweater weather. Get your pants puppies prepared for cuffing season with trim as refreshing as a ball breeze by going to manscaped.com and using code DOINK for 20% off everything plus free shipping. It's time for nice flannels and cozy socks, but we can't forget to trim our balls. By now, you've heard of them, but it's time to join the 9 million men worldwide who use Manscaped and get the kit that covers it all, the Performance Package 4.0. It starts with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology that reduces nicks and cuts to make the raking the leaves a lot less painful. Once you've cleared the driveway, the Performance Package comes in hot with products to cool you down. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner, one to prevent stink and one to clear it up. With a soothing aloe vera formula, move over pumpkin spice, fresh balls are the smell of the season. The Performance Package 4.0 caps it off with 2 free gifts, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. That's one to hold your Manscaped goodies and one to hold your man goodies. Bring in the fall right and get 20% off and free shipping with code DOINK at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code DOINK. As the leaves fall, make sure you have it all with Manscaped. And welcome back to another episode of the Double Doink Podcast. My name is Brenden D. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We're talking strictly Philadelphia Eagles. We are going to recap Eagles Patriots, talk about the injuries, news that came out this week, and preview Thursday Night Football when the Minnesota Vikings travel to Philadelphia for the Eagles home opener. No one else to do it with than the best looking man in Denmark, Thomas Petersen. Thomas, what's going on?
I mean, I'm flattered, but it doesn't say much. We're not that many people, so I don't know what to take from that compliment, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
How many people live in Denmark?
5 million.
5 million. So you're the best looking guy of 5 million people? Can't go wrong there.
I mean, gotta aim high.
There you go. Okay, so Thomas, you did 2 film breakdowns on your show, 2, right? I've watched Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Those are the ones that are up. Very impressive. Like if you're not subscribed to Breaking the Birds channel, Thomas's YouTube channel yet, please do. It's the best Eagles video breakdowns you can get on the internet. Thomas did 2 players, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Like I said, I think it's the best place to start. What did you see from these 2 guys? We'll start with Jalen Carter. I told you before the podcast, you looked very happy doing the review. It was like a kid in a candy store. I know you love line play, so this is kind of right up your alley. So what did you see from Jalen Carter in his Eagles debut?
I mean, a kid in a candy store where the candy is just, it's so overwhelming. Like it's the chocolate factory. You don't know what to say. Like if it's a small candy store, you run around, you're happy, you're picking up the candy. This one, there was a candy store you just walk into, you just go, oh my God. That was that's kind of how I felt. I mean, it was just it was stupid because usually when you pick out plays, or when I pick out plays for these breakdowns, I take some of the good, some of the bad, and have to kind of shuffle through 60 snaps and then pick up maybe 10, 15 plays. Here, I could just take it from one rep after the other. Like I didn't have to do any clipping or any sorting. I could just go in a chronological order of all the plays he did, and it was just absurd.
There was one part in the, I think it was before he did like the club spin move. You're going, I didn't even have to switch plays here. I'm going
yeah, exactly. And the fun thing was that now naturally the clips that get thrown around on Twitter are the ones where he's quickly winning a rep or something like that. But even the plays where he doesn't necessarily win, he's trying off different types of pass rush moves that I've never seen a defensive lineman try before. Like he is so advanced in his technique, and he's confident in himself to a level where he's trying these things out. And that is so incredibly fascinating to see from a guy playing his first NFL game ever. So that stood out. I mean, he's confident. He believes in himself. You can clearly tell that. You have a lot of these rah-rah players that when they say, I'm going to win Defensive Player of the Year, I really think when he said that, he felt he had a chance. Like he said that during, I think it was before training camp, even around OTAs probably. And man, can he bag it up? Like that's really fun. Then Jordan Davis is really taking a step forward. And this was we talked about it, the first game where he played over 30 snaps here in his career, got his first sack. He was a lot more mobile running around out there, despite playing the most snaps ever in the game for him. The play he got out and forced a fumble on Zeke, like, holy shit, he bends around an offensive lineman, comes out there in the flat, and then and forces a fumble. Like, that big man making that type of play is it's stupid.
That was the biggest game of the day, or biggest play of the day. Sorry.
Yeah,
that forced fumble put them in range for the touchdown to go up 60-0.
Yeah.
Without that, they don't win the football game, right? They lost by 5.
And there weren't anyone close to Ezekiel Elliott that play either. So it was either going to be a forced fumble at that point, or it was going to be like a 20-yard pickup, if not more.
Mm-hmm. One of my biggest takeaways from the Jalen Carr, I'll start there from your video, is his get off. How quickly he hits the offensive lineman. Like, if you look, like when you were doing the breakdown, you have the other players in the shot, right? You have the whole defensive line, the offensive line. Carter's hitting his player. His hands are on the guard or center or whoever he's lining up. Always first, like every single play. He's always the first man engaging. That was one of my bigger takeaways. And the amount of pass rush moves he has, his ability to swim, club, spin move, like he did it all in one play. It's awesome to see from again his first NFL game, man. It was like as good as a debut as you can ask for. And the Jordan Davis one, it's nice to see the pass rush get there and start to develop. But man, his run defense is awesome. You had this one clip in the Jordan Davis video where he takes on a double team, and then sheds off it immediately and gets a run stop for 2 yard. I think it was like a 2-yard gain, something like that.
We talked about it immediately after the game that whenever they ran up the middle and on Jordan Davis, they didn't get anything, and when that just backed it up when you're watching the tape afterwards.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen those videos, make sure to go check out Thomas' YouTube channel and watch those. Let's talk more about the game in general. Do you have any kind of lingering thoughts? We did about a 30-minute episode recap right after the game, so it was kind of new to us. Usually we have a day to dissect, but we did it right after last game, so I kind of felt like I needed more time to ingest. But is there anything else that you from this game that you kind of took away?
Yeah, I think we kind of we hit it pretty well when we were kind of we weren't going to give the blame too much on Brian Johnson right after the game. We wanted to see what actually happened, what went wrong, and there are plays in there that shouldn't have happened. We talked about that, the 3rd and 10 draw, the 3rd and 8 screen. There's some plays in there that was just bad play calling and shouldn't have happened. But really for the majority of the drive, now a lot goes into 5 3-and-out drives. I think they had a lot goes into that, but the primary key to the failure of the Eagles offense, to me, was the offensive line, without question. They didn't get any push in the running game. I think it kind of goes back to Brian Johnson, but calling running plays for Jalen Hurts just seems like a massive waste of talent in this offense. Like, if you're gonna run Jalen Hurts, if you want to have the option to run him, run RPO or run read option. But if you're just having a strict, like, direct snap to Jalen Hurts where he has to run, it just feels like you're taking all the other skill position players out of the offense on a play like that. And Hurts clearly didn't want to get hit. Like, he just sliding around. So
there's no point in calling all these runs if you don't want your quarterback to get hurt. Yeah,
super weird. But yeah, Lane Johnson is probably the worst game I've ever seen Lane Johnson play. Jordan Mailata was not good either.
He was rough. Yeah.
He got after it a lot more in the second half, whereas Lane Johnson just sucked the entire game. I think Jason Kelce was pretty good. Cam Jurgens was all right. He had a couple of rough snaps, but not close to the degree of the other two that I mentioned. Landon Dickerson, some good, especially in the running game. Some really bad, especially in the passing game. So I don't blame Jalen Hurts for being off in the second half of the game. And not really seeing the field totally later in the game, simply because of how bad the offensive line was. I mean, why would he trust anything after what happened in the second quarter, where it's 3-and-out drives and then one run to end the half? Yeah, that was really rough to watch.
Yeah, the offensive line was not good. I thought Jalen Hurts, when he was in the pocket, he actually did throw the ball well. When they kept him in there, I don't have the exact stats to back it up, but from when I watched the second time around, like when he was sitting in the pocket, he was able to find the guys. It was when the pocket collapsed. It was something that he wasn't very good. Like, it wasn't his strength last year, was throwing on the run. It was something that he's got a pretty ball, but like he's not the best at like escape plays, like the Patrick Mahomes, where when it's not in structure, you can kind of have you can have receivers change up their route. It's something that I really wanted to get better at this year. Didn't see it in week one. The offense in general was just out of sync. We talked about it in the recap episode the day of the game. It just felt like the play calling wasn't matched up to the next play, and it wasn't that well-oiled machine we saw last year. I think it's kind of a reminder of just maybe how well last season went, and like it's just probably not going to be like that. Not a game
last year.
Yeah, we were. But I have no worries. Like as the unit as a whole, maybe specific players. Like I thought Quez Watkins played way too much in this game. Especially, I think so. I have the snap counts here somewhere for Quez Watkins. I think it was 79% of the snaps for Quez Watkins, and only 6 snaps for Olamide Zaccheaus. And then you're running Jalen Hurts a lot in this game. Like Quez Watkins is completely useless in the blocking. If you're going to be running Jalen Hurts, get 12 personnel out there. Like, don't run him out of 11. It doesn't make any sense.
Don't run him.
Yeah, in general,
use some of these 4 running backs you have on your roster. I mean,
no, for sure. The offense was just not fun to watch the second time around.
No.
I thought Jalen Hurts didn't play very well, but I think my standard's higher now than normal. Like, he played enough to win. The turnover, of course, at the end was bad, but that was just a really nice hit. So besides that, he kept the ball. He wasn't turning the ball over.
Yeah.
There wasn't any like erratic throws.
It goes back to the point, just don't run. I mean, don't run Jalen Hurts on design plays. Like if he reads something and can keep it, fine, because then you took out a defender on the play. Otherwise,
it's Jalen Hurts like quarterback draws on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. It works a lot. But when you're doing like the design runs on 1st and 10, 2nd and long, that kind of stuff drives me nuts. And they did it a lot in the last game. Like in the Super Bowl, remember, like Jalen Hurts picked up a lot of first downs with his legs, but it was a lot of draw calls. It was a lot of pulling guards on 3rd and 5 in an empty formation. Like you were tricking the opponent. It almost felt like the Patriots knew when Hurts was going to be running.
Yeah, but to me, it just feels like an offense that doesn't know what it wants. Like you have Hurts, we talked about it clearly in his mind. He knows I can't get hit too much and have to slide around, and also you're calling designed runs for him. Like there's a play where I think Jordan Mailata is pulling to the opposite side, so it's a QB power. Jordan Mailata pulls out to the right side. He blocks a guy. Jalen jumps over him, and the first guy he meets after he jumps over a defender, he slides down. 2-yard gain. It's completely bullshit. Like run with the running backs, or actually run Jalen Hurts through contact. The other thing here is just it doesn't make sense. It's waste of play calling, in my opinion.
Jalen Hurts, when he had a clean pocket, 19 to 22 for 160 yards and a touchdown. So it goes to show, keep Jalen Hurts, keep the pocket. It goes back to exactly what you said. It was the offensive line's fault. Keep a clean pocket for Jalen Hurts. He's going to pick you apart. That's an 86% completion percentage. So I think as long as if the offensive line is going to rebound, there's too much talent on it to have back-to-back games bad like that. In general, just bad games throughout the season. And and I think it goes back to original point. We kind of hammered this down in the recap episode. The Patriots played really well. This is a really well coached team. They brought it week 1. They were not messing around, and they still lost. So it goes to show how much better of a football team the Eagles are than majority of the league.
Yep.
Defensive side of the ball, I have a couple more takeaways. I thought it was Avonte Maddox's worst game as an Eagle I've seen in a very long time, Thomas. It was ugly when I was watching it, and the stats backed it up. Avonte Maddox in coverage allowed 10 catches on 12 targets for 96 yards. He was getting picked apart. I also had Zach Cunningham at a really bad, rough game in coverage. But I think that was kind of Cunningham and just the middle of the defense in general wasn't in sync at all. You could tell that these were all new guys, all fresh faces. That is, if I'm going to take a worry from this game, it's the middle of the defense, like for the whole macro standpoint of the year, because there's not fresh bodies coming in. This is it. This is what you got, and the talent was already not good enough. So that's where I would be kind of worried. Like we need Maddox to be better. You can't be allowing 10 catches on 12 targets for almost 100 yards. And he had a couple missed tackles. He was ugly. And then Zach Cunningham nine catches on 11 targets, allowed for 71 yards. You're about to see TJ Hawkinson this week. I think they better have a plan for him. I know Justin Jefferson's going to be playing number 1, but TJ Hawkins is a very good tight end. So there's going to be, I think if you're the Vikings, that's where you're going to be attacking. But yeah, I thought the middle of the defense was rough. And do you have anything else?
There was a trio of poor defenders that really contributed to what we felt after the game, that everything was open underneath, and whenever they were throwing over the middle, they got away with it. Like Mac Jones could just lob balls over Zach Cunningham over to a receiver coming on a dig, or a tight end coming on a 10-yard in right behind him, and it wasn't being punished. And that's the trio of Avonte Maddox, who sucked in man coverage and was just overall confused whenever the Patriots were in trip bunch formations. He couldn't pick out the guy he needed to be accountable for. Zach Cunningham, who was just bad. Like whenever he dropped back, his feet were all over the place. He was never in control of his hips. And then Justin Evans, who was probably one of the softest safeties I've seen play from a deep middle perspective. 2 catches over the middle where he is in a perfect position to completely slam the tight end, Brian Dawkins style, just lower the shoulder into the chest. And instead he goes for this kind of weird ballet type tackle. And probably it's because he tried to get the pass deflection, but he was in a much too poor angle to actually get the pass deflection, and he wasn't physical enough to make the hit. So it just ended up being nothing at all. If he was just a tad faster, I'm looking at you, Sidney Brown. He would have had 2 interceptions in this game, because Mac Jones had a couple of balls. He just leaped down the field. Evans was this close to getting it. And a little bit faster, that's 2 interceptions. So, Avonte Maddox, I don't have a replacement for. I don't have anybody on the team that I would say you should be replacing Avonte Maddox.
He has to play, and he has to play better. Straight up.
He has to play and he has to play. Yeah, exactly. He's being paid to play better. We know he can do it. He's done it before. Now, Justin Evans, I would just quickly kick off to the bench and then put in Sidney Brown instead, because I would much rather Sidney Brown make mistakes and learn from that as a rookie who has the intangibles to play safety. We've seen that. I'd much rather have him learn on the job and make these mistakes and then get better than what Justin Evans has shown. And just from a pure speed and athleticism standpoint, Sidney would have contributed big time in this game against the Patriots. Then Zach Cunningham, I mean, the Eagles linebacker situation is just stupid.
The Justin Evans thing is weird, Thomas. Like, I was thinking back, like, why are they so obsessed with him? Why is he starting week 1? Like, he hasn't played football in 3 years. Like, he literally hasn't started the NFL in 3 seasons. He's been injured. And, like, it's not like training camp, like, we were hearing reports that he was playing so well. The need to play him week 1 as a starter is kind of fishy, in my opinion, a little bit.
I noticed they took him out a couple of times and put Terrell Edmonds in instead. It wasn't because Edmonds did any better, quite the opposite. So, I mean, if you look at the tape from this game and you have a rotating safety room where you wouldn't want to announce a starter already week 1, I don't see any due diligence needed to be paid to these veterans guys. Like, just put in Sidney Brown. Let's go. Let's roll with it.
Like, live and die by it. He was your 3rd-round pick. He's going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, let's get him out of the way early. And he's clearly the more athletic player and a player you want to feel with playmaking ability. So I agree. Sidney Brown needs playing time on Thursday night. Like, he didn't play 1 defensive snap on week 1. That can't happen. That can't happen.
And also with Reed Blankenship probably out, it's also going to it's going to be. It's got to figure itself out. Like, he has to get on the field, because there's no way they're chopping up. They're going out there and putting out Edmonds and Evans. That's just waving the white flag.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. The injuries are a little bit of an issue right now with the Eagles. Nakobe Dean went on injured reserve yesterday, so he's out for at least 4 games. Kenneth Gainwell and Reed Blankenship both have rib injuries. Fletcher Cox is also a ribs, right? So what's going on with the
Bradbury's concussion? Yeah,
Bradbury's concussion. So it sounds like Gainwell and Blankenship are not going to play. We haven't got the injury reports yet, but they're going to be out. Like 99%. Mike Garafolo had a report today that
I thought Fletcher was an ankle as well. He had an MRI on his ankle for sure.
So Gainwell is going to be out. Garofalo basically confirmed that he's very tied into the Eagles. And then
Bradbury's not going to make it off.
Blankenship doesn't sound like he's going to play, and Bradbury is a concussion. It's too early of a turnaround for him to get clear concussion protocol. So we're probably looking at Josh Jobe starting on the outside across from Darius Slay. We're probably looking at Christian Ellis. He also looked really rough in week 1, Thomas. He was not good at all. So I'd like to see maybe.
Told you in the training camp.
Yeah, you were. I'm still got hope. Still have hope a little bit, but I don't know if you can give him the green dot and throw him into Kobe Dean's role. That seems a little too much right at the gate. But I expect Nicholas Morrow to kind of get some run at linebacker as well. On Thursday night, and then Kenneth Gainwell is going to be replaced by DeAndre Swift, Boss Scott, and Rashad Penny is going to. So we'll talk about Penny and the running backs in a little bit, but yeah, that's the injury roundup. Hey, look, they were really healthy last year. And this was something I brought up during our preview episodes, like when we were talking in the offseason a lot. James Bradbury and Darius Slay started all 17 games last season. That wasn't going to happen again. Like these young quarterbacks were going to get on the field at some point, and it happens in week 2. Hopefully Bradbury's concussion isn't serious. It sounds like he's going to be okay probably for week 3, which is good news, but it's time to see what Josh Jobe's got. He made that really nice tackle in the divisional round against the Giants late in the game when they were up 38-7. He smoked, I think it was Richie James. He had a really nice play on. He had a nice special teams play. He's a guy that the Eagles love in the building, so it's exciting for him to get an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think it's about time somebody else and some of these young guys come in and get a chance. Maybe we'll be super frustrated with him. He plays horribly, and then I mean, that's what it is. But
definitely a possibility for that.
It'll be good to see. It'll be good to see.
If you're like me, you were tired of trying to find jeans that fit right no matter your build and still look good. Introducing the newest sponsor of the Double Doink podcast, Sweat Tailor, a premium menswear brand that is defining a new kind of casual. I started wearing Sweat Tailor and I am blown away by how comfortable and affordable the clothes are. And of course, they look great. My favorite is the all-in pants. It's a 5-pocket pant that feels like sweats but look way better. Thoughtfully tailored and unbelievably stretchy. From jackets and pants to joggers and hoodies, Sweat Tailor's designs are made to seamlessly fit into your life, moving from runway to office, office to drinks, and drinks to wherever the night takes you. Specializing in casual wear for men, pieces are designed with comfort and versatility in mind for your everyday. Use promo code BDEEGST. That is BDEEGST for 25% off. That again is BDEEGST for 25% off your order at sweattailor.com.
The Double Doink podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life is hard. It's especially hard when you don't have someone you can open up to. Not everyone is comfortable talking to their friends and family about their personal matters or anything that is bothering them on a day-to-day basis. Mental health is so important to continued success in this world. Therapy is a great way to regroup and get everything off your chest. Insert BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the largest online therapy service, 100% online. They will match you with professional licensed therapists you can trust. You can talk with your therapist however you see fit, via text, phone call, or video chat. BetterHelp has successfully helped over 4 million people worldwide deal with their day-to-day mental health issues. Use the link in the podcast description to get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp. Okay, let's dive into the matchups. So the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday night. Let's start with the Minnesota Vikings offense versus the Philadelphia Eagles defense. So the Minnesota Vikings offense last week kind of sputtered a little bit. Turnovers were the big problem. They had 3 turnovers last week, 2 Kirk Cousins fumbles, and 1 interception. They lost the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their season opener, so they're going to be hungry coming in. The big thing with the Vikings offense right now is the injuries up front. So their center, Garrett Bradbury, was ruled out today, so he's not going to play. And then Andrew Schlottman, I believe his name is going to be replacing him, the backup center. I just want to confirm. Austin Schlottman, is that his name? Austin Schlottman, correct, is going to be replacing him. Pro Football Focus did not have good grades on him, but hey, look, I don't have a backup center intel here. I don't know how Austin Schlottman is. But Christian Darrisaw is also the big one here. He was limited to practice. He's listed as questionable. He is a star in the making. He's one of the better offensive tackles in the league. If he's not playing, then that kind of opens up the gates for the edge rushers. But outside of injuries and whatnot, what are you looking for in this matchup?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Eagles defense and how they're going to be doing against what should be a much better passing attack than what Patriots were presenting. And just to see if the D-line can kind of actually get home with some of the pressure here. I think teams are going to be looking at the Patriots approach to the defense, and they're going to be copying that. So I hope that we're going to see Sean Desai come out and actually have some plans to take away the underneath stuff and maybe gamble a little bit more on deep stuff. What I mean by that is basically having more guys play man-man and then not having safeties over the top to it and allocate some of those safeties to being able to play underneath so the linebackers are more free to carry the running backs coming out the flat or running backs coming over the middle or so on and so forth. And then rely more on the D-line getting home with the pressure much so rather than blitzing, because whenever you're blitzing, you're always going to have a hot receiver to that side who's basically not counted for in the same way because you want to disguise your blitzes. So I'm hoping for a little bit more conservative approach as to less blitzing and a little bit more of press in the sense that we want the quarterback to hold the ball for just about 2.5 seconds and then bank on Carter, Davis, Hassan, Fletcher, and Sweat getting home with the pressure, because I think they showed that they're able to do that very much so against the Patriots. And like, you have defensive line that is so talented as pass rushers, and they were so successful with it in week 1. Your safeties are very questionable. Your linebackers suck, and you're injured a corner. So you're going to have to gamble a little bit here, I think, to make big plays on defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stopping the passing attack is going to be the key here. The Vikings' run offense was awful against Tampa. Alexander Madison had like 14 carries for 38 yards. Good start starting on my fantasy team. I actually was high on Madison this year, and he didn't look like he had zero juice at all. So I think Tyson Chandler might be taking over that running back room.
Buccaneers also have really good linebackers.
That's
and a really
true.
Good D-line.
So. And Vita Vea, yeah. But the Eagles defense did a really good job of stopping the Patriots rushing attack. I'm assuming if you're the Vikings, you're going to attack through the air. Like, you don't even want to try to run up the middle on the Eagles. It's going to be a whole lot of Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins. And the last year when the Eagles played the Vikings, of course, everyone remembers Darius Slay's performance against the Vikings. It was the second highest coverage grade of the year according to Pro Football Focus. He had 2 interceptions. He was targeted 8 times, only allowed 2 catches, and he also had a pass breakup. It was arguably Darius Slay's best game, in my opinion, as an Eagle. It was the most exciting, I guess, because it was on prime time. He was shutting down Justin Jefferson. He was confusing Kirk Cousins. So I think I would if I'm Desai, I'm letting Darius Slay follow Justin Jefferson around. No?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no way in shape or form you want Josh Jobe to end up on Justin Jefferson.
Agreed. So expect a lot of that Slay Jefferson matchup again. Who was Jordan Addison? That's the name I was thinking of. Jordan Addison, the first round pick, had a touchdown last week on a big 40+ yard catch. He was on my fantasy bench as well, so he's going in the starting lineup this week. Madison out. Have to start Addison, unfortunately, but you're playing against Josh Jobe. It's a good matchup for the Vikings. I'm assuming they're going to try to attack that quite heavily. Jordan Addison was a highly touted prospect. He was a first round pick. He's got some juice, so not an easy matchup for Josh Jobe coming out the gate.
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky, but I mean, it's gonna be like that every week. Like, there's so many good receivers in the league right now, so you're always gonna face a duo that has like 2 really good players. Of course, last week would have been a lot easier to get in and play the whole game. But then again, like, Jordan Addison's a rookie, so like Josh has a little bit of upper hand in that regard. He's seen a little bit more in the league. It's a better matchup than, say, like just a quick, like, if you're going against DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, you'd be fucked if that's your first game that you're going to be starting. So I think in that way, I think he matches up a lot better with Addison. If he actually has to travel at Addison now, I'll say that's a pretty good start. Like, you're not asking him too much in that point. He should be able to hold his own. I'm expecting him to at least go 50-50 with Jordan.
Mm-hmm. And then, like I brought up, T.J. Hawkinson. The Vikings offense was a lot better when they acquired T.J. Hawkinson last year. The offense just kind of took over to another level. I'm expecting him to be very active in this game, especially against the middle of the Eagles defense. So they got their hands full. Vikings have a lot of
Sidney Brown is made for. He's made for matchups against guys like T.J. Hawkinson. He needs to he can use his size and his speed to compensate for that physicality that a T.J. Hawkinson would present. So yeah. That'll be my approach to it.
Yep, not an easy matchup. Vikings have a good offense, but the Eagles should be able to hold their own. And I think this is more exciting, like the Eagles' defense versus the Vikings' offense. I'm really looking forward to. Let's flip sides of the ball here: Eagles' offense versus the Vikings' defense. So it's just some injury catch up here. So, God, who's the
Marcus Davenport?
Marcus Davenport. Yes, sorry, I was blanking on his name there again. Marcus Davenport is questionable with ankle injury. He didn't play week 1. He was kind of their big signing this offseason on the defensive side of the ball. Him and Byron Murphy, the cornerback. The Vikings pass rush didn't really do well against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had 1 sack on 25 dropbacks, so they didn't get it home to Baker. They were putting a little bit of pressure on him, but they couldn't finish the job. Baker's not like the hardest quarterback to sack down, so the Eagles' offensive line is a big mismatch, in my opinion, against the Vikings' D-line. Like, they should be dominating this matchup.
It should is probably the key word. I'm not expecting it just based on the coming off of a week 1, but yeah, they should. I mean, there's Danielle Hunter is probably the only guy I can think of there that will present problems if Marcus Davenport doesn't play. So, I mean, it should be, but I said that against the Patriots as well. When you're going through, they have more guys like Josh Wise and Matt Judon and I think Keon White played really well for the Patriots as well.
Yeah,
I don't think there's an X factor like that on the line here for the Vikings that should present issues in that regard. But and also just don't think that the Vikings are set up as well from a coaching standpoint. Like Brian Flores is really talented, sure, but he's not Bill Belichick.
He's also a new team, new system, new everything, new players.
Yeah,
right. Like this isn't the Miami Dolphins team that he was running. This is different, right? So he's got some catching up to, just like the Eagles coordinators have to, right? They're kind of all in the same boat here. Couple more points on the Viking on Brian Flores. I wanted to throw your way. He blitzed 49% of the times against the Buccaneers week 1.
Yeah.
What was at a 50% rate? Now, Brian Flores is known for man coverage and blitzing schemes. That's what he did in New England. He brought that to Miami. These very aggressive defense, but 50%
I'd expect that to happen again. Yeah, I expect that to continue because the Eagles don't have, typically, and we talked about this a lot last year as well. The Eagles' passing offense is, for some reason, always so slow developing. Like, there are very little hot reads to go through when teams are blitzing, and it always leaves Jalen Hurts just standing around wondering a little bit in the pocket of where to go with the ball. It always looks so awkward when the Eagles are being blitzed on offense because there's basically nowhere to go with the ball necessarily. So, yeah, I think they're going to be setting a ton of pressure, 5, 6, sometimes 7-man pressure with cover 0 or cover 0 bracket or shell underneath it. And I think it's going to confuse the hell out of the Eagles. And I don't think they're going to have the offensive system ready to cope with it.
Anything else on the passing attack? Like the Vikings cornerbacks aren't strong. Like Byron Murphy kind of got picked apart by Mike Evans last week. He struggled against him. I'm trying to remember the other corner across from Byron Murphy's on the left side. I think Mekhi Blackman got some reps in as well for them. And then Caleb Evans is the right quarterback. He actually played well against Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin only had 45 yards or something like that. He was the better of the two. I really like Byron Murphy as a free agent signing. I wanted the Eagles to take a look at him if they weren't going to get James Bradbury back, but he did not have a good opening day. So this is another matchup where the Eagles have the advantage here. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith are better than the guys in front of him. And then in the middle of the defense, Ivan Pace Jr., their linebacker who was undrafted, or it might have been 7th-round pick or undrafted, ton of hype in training camp from the kid. He started. He is the green dot player, and he also did play very well in their opening game against Tampa. This is a way better offense than Tampa Bay's offense, and Tampa was still able to put up some points and get some yards. So the Eagles' offense should be able to do that. Now, let's talk about the running game, Thomas. Because when I rewatched the game, one of my biggest disappointments with the Eagles' offense was the rushing attack. They couldn't get anything going in the run game.
Push, no moves,
nothing.
No.
So
Rashad
that's
Penny.
It has. There it is. Rashad Penny needs run in this game. Eagles only had 31 rushing yards between the tackles in week 1. 31. That's it. Rashad Penny averaged 5.9 yards per carry between the tackles last year. Feed him. Give him the ball. Give him some run.
Heck yeah. 15, 20 touches.
let him go. You signed him for a reason. Like now, Gainwell's you're not going to play.
He's going to be pissed that he didn't get activated in week 1.
Exactly. Yeah.
Give him a reason as to why he should be activated every week.
Yeah. Let's go back to what works at the Eagles. They're at their best when they're running through the middle between the tackles and power run schemes. That's when the team looks the best. It opens up the passing game. They need to kind of get back to square one here. And I think this is a perfect team to do it against. Perfect night to do it. Week 2. I know everyone's going to want to see the Jalen Hurts show.
Get the hell out of here! Never just take all the Jalen Hurts to sign runs, just throw it in the trash can, and just put in Rashard Penny, and you can go read option. That's fine, but god damn it, run it with Rashard, please.
100% agree. I think he needs a lot of run in this game. I'm expecting him to be active. There's no reason not to. I was disappointed from the healthy scratch week 1. They could have used him in that game, so I'm expecting a heavy dose of Rashard Penny, and we'll see if DeAndre Swift, what his role is. 2 touches in the first game. You're definitely going to see that going up. And Dallas Goedert, man, get him the ball as well. He had 0 targets for 0 yards. Can't happen again. He's got to get the ball.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it. Anything else on this matchup before we prediction time and get out of here?
No, I think we hit on the injuries. Who's going to be replacing them? Yeah. No, I think we're good.
All right. Prediction time here. I'll start. I think the Eagles are going to come out and win this and cover. The spread currently is 6.5. It dropped from 7 to 6.5. Ton of juice flowing on the Minnesota Vikings over the last 24 hours. I think that's a good sign. I like to fade the public. I'm taking the Eagles. I think they win by 10. I think it's going to be a little feisty. Like the Vikings are going to put up points. I think it's going to go over 2. I like the total. I think it's going to be a ton of points in this game. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles 34-24 in a high-scoring affair. I think the Eagles offense gets their groove back. I think Darius Slay has a nice interception. I think Jalen Carter has a nice day. Eagles defense kind of takes over in the fourth quarter and slows them down, but I'm expecting a high-scoring affair, and I think the Eagles offense kind of gets back on track. 34 Eagles, 24 Vikings.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I think it's going to be enough plays made on defense to keep the score down a little bit here. I think it's going to go back and forth. I would say I'll probably predict around maybe like 3 or 4 lead changes throughout the game. I don't think it's going to be comfortable whatsoever, and I think it's going to be a lot of growing pains for the Eagles offense again, just based on all the matchups here suggest that the Eagles offense should be rolling. I think they should against the Patriots as well. I'm not expecting it to be fixed over the course of 4 days. So I'm preparing myself for a lot of questionable calls and a lot of 3-and-outs again for the Eagles offense. But I do think they're going to find their groove a little bit more, or at least I certainly hope so. And just based on the fact that the Eagles should have a much more talented roster and should more handily be able to take on the Vikings here. They're also an inexperienced group, like we said. Like Brian Flores, also new. I have the Eagles winning on a Jake Elliott field goal, 27-24.
Oh yeah. Love it, Jake. Jake Elliott, man. NFC Player of the Week, special teams.
Yeah. Eagles
awesome.
Player of the Week.
Yeah, he was the best player on the field, maybe besides Jalen Carter. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Thomas and I'll be back some point, maybe late this weekend, whatever. We'll be breaking down Eagles Vikings. And then they're off till Monday, right? We got Monday, Tampa Bay week 3. So they have a long rest. Some players can get healthy. Hopefully there's not a lot of injuries on Thursday night. Cross your fingers.
Trades.
Yeah, maybe add some help on the back end of the defense.
Goddamn linebacker.
Linebacker and safety right now. I'm keeping an eye on all those positions up till the trade deadline.
Yeah, got to keep an eye on Buda Baker.
Yep. So again, thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. We are everywhere. Check out our sponsors, BetterHelp, Manscaped, and Sweat Taylor. And we will talk to you later.